AI's taking jobs right now, and we are seeing it firsthand here at the Academy. We do tours on a Monday and Friday, and every single week we are seeing people in banks, we're seeing lawyers come through actually. So we're seeing it firsthand, people losing jobs, people being feared of losing their jobs. And yeah, it's very much happening right now. Yeah, I don't think there's any jobs at risk in the energy sector. Skilled labour, there's nothing coming for skilled labour in terms of AI in the near future. Who knows what's going to be in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, that may be a different case, but there's nothing coming soon for skilled labour, and I think that's where the great opportunity lies and the earning potential, because we've got such a shortage of engineers as well, which it's supply and demand, and the earning potential is huge. Yeah, I think the ones that don't retrain, whatever sector they're in, I think a lot of people are going to need to retrain and become more advanced and learn how to work with AI, and that will set them in good stead. But the ones that aren't training for renewables and the future of renewables will be left behind. So I think all in all, you're going to be left behind now at a rapid pace if you're not reskilling and refining your skills and trying to get better every day. The Net Zero Home was three things really. It was to elevate training. What better way to train than on a life-size house? So some of the guys here, they'll go up and they'll do their training on the solar panels on the roof. They'll go up through the stair here. But we also talk about the challenges of retrofitting our built environment. How do we fit these heat pumps? How do we upgrade pipes? How do we upgrade radiators? So we talk about all the challenges as well. And then the third thing is we try and inspire how to achieve an EPC net zero rating. Everything you see fitted to the Net Zero Home is available now in order to achieve an EPC net zero rating. You can see our current wall of fame, as we're calling it, where we've got a list of all the candidates that have been through the MLP programme to date. 100% of them have got full employment, which is great to see. And here there's a class on at the moment. These two areas here, this is our domestic training assessment area and our commercial assessment area. So we can't actually show in these rooms for obvious reasons. The guys will be assessed in here, so we can't have any of this on camera. These doors are locked as well. And same again in here. We have LPG training, unvented training and heat pump training here, but it's an assessment room. Through here we have there's a current MLP class going on at the moment, but this is one of our rooms, Daikin room. So Daikin gave us all their product range to help support us at the Energy Training Academy. So all their new products around the room, and that was a big aspiration of mine, is to have a lot of these rooms a nice working environment with all the latest technology. And here, happy to say it's nice and clear. There's no candidates in here just now. So when you come in here, you get a real sense of getting your hands dirty. And that was exactly the feel that we wanted to create when coming into the studio. So the studio it's theory as well. So we have theory, we have this big workbench there. We could do theory on the TV on the back there, but we can look at slides and then we can get up and then do hands-on stuff around the whole studio here. So right here you've got a range of standard efficiency and high efficiency boilers. You've got open fluid appliances here. Over here we've got commercial gas appliances, and then in each of these bays you see all the way around here, each of the candidates get an opportunity to fit a boiler, pipe it to a hot water outlet, pipe it to a heating circuit. They'll then wire the boiler, and they'll also test and commission that full boiler and installation. So they'll get real confidence that if they can do it in here, they can do it on the field. Everything you see in that bay is ultimately what you see in a customer's home. So if they can do it in here, they can do it on the field.
And through here we have our ideal heating training room. This classroom is full of real boilers. They don't have gas, don't have water. That's ideal for training because it means we have no leaks, but it's really good for training when we're talking about gas valves, pumps, sequence of operation. We can actually get the candidates on the boilers, stripping them down, learning how they all work. Some people really love to learn with visual aids, and it's a great way to do it in a nice classroom. But down here, this is where we have the entrance to our heat network suite. So the heat network suite, as you can see, has been supported by a lot of these well-known companies, like so OCS, Vattenfall, Energy Raven, SAV, and then the other companies below, locally, R3 in East Lothian, we've got ISOplus, CPC Civils, Elevate Everywhere, Thermomech and PPSL. Midlothian Council as well, of course. Without these companies, we wouldn't have been able to develop this heat network suite. But if you come through, I'll show you what it's all about and I'll tell you a bit more about it. So this is a kind of breakout area for the heat network suite, but it's also a space where we can learn about heat networks, the kind of people that are involved, the kind of jobs available. You can see the actual plan for a heat network, the kind of timeline of how heat networks develop, things that HIUs, what are they? You've got all the information here on the walls, but it is a space where we can bring people together. So this is the kind of breakout area where we all stop, have a tea, coffee, have a bit of something to eat, network, get people together. This area through here, it's multi-use, but it is quite often used for larger events. So we can hold officially about 60 people in here seated. We have had slightly more for some events, but it's a great space to have presentations, to do larger workshops, round table events. It really stimulates conversation. We've had different types of event where it's training, CPD. We've had recently a heat pump workshop with a senior MSP from Scottish Government. But also because the room is branded with heat networks, it stimulates conversation and it allows us to talk about alternatives for decarbonisation and retrofit. We do have a lot of heat pumps throughout the academy, things like solar panels, battery storage, but heat networks, HIUs, that's certainly a big part of Scotland's plans to decarbonise in the future. And if I take you to the map over here, you can actually see one of the proposals for Edinburgh, Midlothian, East Lothian. You can see the heat highway coming from East Lothian. The map shows how we plan to use wasted heat to heat things like the hospital in Edinburgh. Shaw Fair is a great example. We're going to have 3,000 to 4,000 houses there and a school, all heated from the energy from waste centre at Miller Hill. So this whole plan, it's highly ambitious, but it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of wasted heat around us, and this plan, if it comes to fruition, will be a great way to recycle that wasted heat and get cheap, sustainable heat directly into people's homes.
So my name is Mark Glasgow. I am the owner of the Edinburgh Boiler Company. Currently we employ around 60 members of staff and we're one of the leading renewable specialists in Scotland. I also own the Energy Training Academy and director here at the moment. A special place, we're big on impact here. We're a community interest company and we are trying to predominantly solve the skills gap. Well, I grew up in a place called Nidri, east of Edinburgh. Never really had much, but I think what that instilled in me is the drive I've got today and the ambition that I've got. And also, what we're doing here at the Academy is trying to present opportunities to a lot of young individuals. Individuals like me, who never really had much prospects as a young guy. I want to give back and I want to give these opportunities to these young individuals like I got being a plumbing and heating apprentice. So work around my area where I grew up, it was working class. There was a lot of manual labour. You didn't see anyone going to university where I grew up. It was all trades, manual labour and a lot of unemployment. I think the first job that I thought was worthwhile was my plumbing and heating apprenticeship. I knew I had a pathway there and to get qualifications is what I needed, a long-term career. So that was probably the first job that I thought was worth doing. I'd done some manual work, labouring and things like that, but that was always short term. But when I got my plumbing heating apprenticeship, that was when I knew that I could use that to do greater things. Yeah, I think I noticed that when I was going through my apprenticeship, I think I always thought the training could have been a lot better. And you needed to know someone to get into the trade. There was no pathways from school into college, into the workforce, and it's still like that today, but it's a lot worse. When the government announced the plans for net zero 2045, I noticed that we're going to need 300,000 green skills workers, but we're projected to make 200,000 green skills workers. So I knew then that there was a massive opportunity for us to create something like the Energy Training Academy. When I thought of building the Energy Training Academy, it was quite an early vision I had, and I just needed a few other things to align with making it a reality. I think the vision was always to give back. I knew where I came from, and I know how hard it is to get opportunities, so that was always part of my vision. But when the government announced the plans to upskill gas engineers into renewables, I knew that was a perfect opportunity to help with the plans, and there was going to be a lot of gas engineers upskilling, a lot of electricians upskilling, so it made the potential possible.
Hi, my name is Andrew Lamond. I'm director and co-founder of the Energy Training Academy. I grew up just in Edinburgh, just south of Edinburgh, and yeah, friends at the time, they've got different jobs. A lot of guys went to uni, but uni wasn't for me. So before we started ETA, I was working in several different companies as a gas engineer, service and repair. Tried a few small businesses, did a bit of installation work, did a lot of service and repair work. And yeah, so I knew the industry quite well. At this point, I was becoming quite experienced in it. And I thought, yeah, there's certainly an opportunity there to get into the training side. All the gas engineers in this area were having to travel through to Glasgow. And I thought, let's get something on this side for all the engineers that are near Edinburgh. So right now, I'd say my role is looking after the operational side of the business. Certainly this year, that's how it's been. But previously, it was more around trying to get ETA known, trying to get it established with partners and with policymakers, local authorities and other trade businesses. We're trying to get contractors to know who we are, where we are and what we do. And that was the goal for, say, 3 years, and then this year I've found myself doing a bit more of the operational side, actually as centre manager as well as director. Well, that's it, yeah, when the companies come to us and ask us to train up their people, we know those candidates have already got a job lined up, and then we're doing the bit of the training and getting them qualified, but we know they've already got that positive destination. The employers are winning because they're getting new staff, but also we can tailor that training to that company from day one. If that company comes to us and says that this is what we want done, but by the way, we work this way, we ask all our engineers to wear overshoes, use dust sheets, wear gloves, respect the customer's property, we can build that into the training programme from day one. So I think eventually we will get to a model where we will get larger companies saying, right, we need 4 service and repair engineers trained up, or we need 4 installation engineers. We can tailor that training for that job role from day one, and that would be success for me, is getting these employers coming to us and trusting us with the future of their workforce.
So we're looking for the trainees to come in here with a real eagerness and willingness that where they come in, they're going to put the effort in. Obviously we'll give them all the training, not just in the centre, but they're going to get it when they're out there on the district as well, and that's obviously then going to make them become qualified engineers at the end of the course. So passing somebody, obviously when it comes to doing their acts at the end of the course, that they're going to be very competent in all the different aspects of the training that they've done. You know, they're comfortable going to be able to answer questions, do the practical assessments, the theory. Somebody obviously who's going to fail the course is somebody who's going to struggle in all those aspects of the elements, and it just usually means that they haven't put that effort in as they're going through the course. So again, employers are looking for someone who is obviously competent, comfortable working in the gas industry, and that when they're out there working as an engineer, the companies are going to have full confidence in them that they know what they're doing, and that the company can then have faith and confidence that they're going to be able to do the job when they're out there. So obviously the whole course is set up into different modules, you know, so we start week 1, which is pretty much an induction health and safety, so that just gets the fundamentals into the candidates about safety. You know, everything within the gas industry is all about safety. Then obviously as they go through each, there's always going to be a mixture of both theory and practical, so there's a mix between the classroom and the bays, and obviously as each module goes in, they're building their knowledge, they're building their confidence, so that once they get to the end of it, when they're sitting their ACTS assessment, that they've got everything in place that they can then do that. Yeah, you see a massive change. A lot of these guys come in here and they've got no experience at all in any industry, not just the gas industry. So you can just see that as they go through that course, their knowledge, their confidence, them as a person builds, so that when they do get to the end of it, you know, you see that qualified person at the end of the day.
Hi, I'm Sean. So I'm currently 12 weeks into a gas engineering programme with an energy training academy. I'm 35 years old, completely changing my career output, where I've come from and where I'm about to be going into. So I was a manager within Sainsbury's Bank. I'd worked in several banks beforehand, and essentially got made redundant and decided to retrain myself within a new business area. When it comes to the banking sector, as you can imagine, there's a lot of technology coming in, so people are becoming more obsolete. So essentially, maybe your job's maybe getting taken over by a piece of technology, and essentially it's sort of streamlining a lot. So there's not as much security within the banking sector as there once was before. So I thought best to basically reinvest in myself and move into another career avenue. You've basically got all the different work areas, all the different rooms. It's quite professional, but warming in the same way. So like, it was really friendly. I felt like I was coming somewhere and they knew exactly what they were rolling out and training. So first impressions were key. Of course, you're always going to be nervous in this situation. I've always been quite a handy DIY sort of person in the house. And I always knew that I wanted to go into the tools. Back when I left high school, there wasn't really those opportunities happening. There was a financial collapse, and then we ended up going into banking, and it wasn't something I ever really seen myself doing long term. There's just a fear factor of you're selling yourself. So effectively, coming and doing this is you're going to be on placement and things like that. So you've got to really sell yourself to try and get that role at the other end of it, if that makes sense. It's like an interview, if you would like. So there's a wee bit of a gamble in regards to what your cost is, so you're paying for the course. So I suppose, yeah, I think that was probably the only thing I was a little bit afraid of. So I've got really young kids, so I've got a 17-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old and 2-year-old, so I've just basically started everything again. So it's just basically managing my own time to make sure I've got the time to be able to put my head in the book and study myself. That's probably been the most challenging part of it. I mean, the tutors are really good. They talk you through absolutely everything. And you can ask any questions you want, really. We're all adults here, so it's quite easy to go and ask them. They're quite open. So, yeah, the only struggle would have been for myself is just try to find the time to make sure I've got the study in there. I'm putting a wee bit of weight on my shoulders. I'm looking to go straight into employment as quickly as I can. I'm a mature student, as I say, I've got a young family. So my expectations was to get the skills that I need to get. I'm gaining experience as I'm going through my placement and effectively getting into full-time employment afterwards. Now, obviously, your career aspirations can move on once I've got that experience here, but essentially I'm looking to get straight into employment right off the bat.
Yeah, when me and Andrew speak, we usually speak about the opportunity and then what we've built here. We have built all the foundations for us to really make a difference locally in Midlothian and Edinburgh, but also for the whole of Scotland. So we always just talk about the possibilities, and first stage is done in terms of creating this amazing facility with the amazing team we've got. And yeah, we're excited by the future. My biggest fear was probably, could I pull off something as big? I didn't go small with this, I went really big. Look at the size of the facility, it's massive, but I wanted all the newest equipment in here as well. I wanted it to be everything opposite to what I'd experienced in other training centres. So I think my biggest fear was, could I pull it off in terms of bringing quality workforce and trainers, but also the funds. We needed to rebuild this whole place. So we needed mass investment, and we needed it over a number of years. But we've pulled it off and here we are now. Yeah, I think locally you wouldn't see as many people coming through. You'd still see apprenticeships coming through, but we've created this alternative pathway, which is adults changing careers. With the advancements of AI, a lot of people are losing work. I think we'd see a lot more people being employed and not having that pathway into a skilled workforce or into the renewable sector. So I think locally we've done tremendous things actually, in building this pathway and bringing as many people through as we have. I don't think there's any jobs at risk in the energy sector. Skilled labour, there's nothing coming for skilled labour in terms of AI in the near future. Who knows what it's going to be in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, that may be a different case, but there's nothing coming soon for skilled labour, and I think that's where the great opportunity lies and the earning potential, because we've got such a shortage of engineers as well, which it's supply and demand, and the earning potential is huge. I think a lot of people are going to need to retrain and become more advanced and learn how to work with AI, and that will set them in good stead. But the ones that aren't training for renewables and the future of renewables will be left behind. So I think all in all, you're going to be left behind now at a rapid pace if you're not reskilling and refining your skills and trying to get better every day. The single biggest lie I would say in traditional trades just now is you can't retrain as a gas and renewables engineer in 6 months. We are showing it time after time, people walking out that door, retraining in 6 months and going out there and getting jobs and doing a great job for their employers. Well, if you look at the shortfall that's projected, that is predominantly through apprenticeships. There's nothing for this alternative pathway we've created. So we're already projecting a massive shortfall. And on top of that, you've got employers not incentivised to take apprenticeships on just now. So you're not going to see that demand. That demand is going to continue to decline because you're not incentivising the main people, which is employers. There's a host of other issues there with apprenticeships. A lot of the young ones don't have that straight pathway from school into college. The course material at college is very much dated. But the funding is probably the biggest thing. If we fix the funding for employers, we will see better adoption of apprenticeships coming through. But we need that alternative pathway as well.
Certainly, yeah, it's a lot harder for people to get into, new entrant people to get into the industry. There's too many blockers just now, especially young people trying to get in straight from school. Apprenticeships are still the best option for young people leaving school, but the reality is it's very difficult to find a company willing to take on an apprentice. We know it's a lot of time down to the cost, but there's also the risk to the employers of the young people leaving before they get their full apprenticeship, complete it all. But then even if they do complete it, they could just walk and start up another company and become a competitor to the company that took them on. So I can understand it from the employer's point of view, but also I can understand the frustration from the young people, because there's huge demand from young people when they leave school to get into trades. When I first started ETA, I did think there's not enough young people coming out of school wanting to get into trades, and I was wrong. It turns out there's tens of thousands of young people wanting to get into it. It's just not got the opportunity to do that. And we certainly see it here. We get more young people coming through the door asking, how do I become a gas engineer? Can't remember the guy's name now, but there was a 17-year-old emailed in about 2 years ago, and he left school. He knew he wanted to get into the trades. I think he was quite keen to be a heating engineer. He put himself through a year-long pre-apprenticeship course at Edinburgh College. He did that, he had good school grades, and he couldn't get an apprenticeship. He was emailing in because he said, I'm trying to get an apprenticeship, I can't get one, please can you help? And that's the kind of moment we thought, this course that we're offering, it's definitely a need, not just for people changing career, but anybody that wants to get into the industry that can't get in through traditional routes.
So a day like today, I think it's great to speak about it and go into depth and answer these questions, because it's often unspoken. And I know we're doing like ads and things like that, but when you go in depth and ask all these questions, you can see exactly where the problems lie and where the opportunity lies. And you can see what's coming with things like AI. And I think for there, anybody watching this will see that this is a massive opportunity. So one action I would like for anyone watching this is just come and have a chat, come and have a tour, see the place, see what could be for them, look at all the stuff that we've got here, but also look at the slides that we show in terms of the opportunity and the jobs that are out there and the projected shortfall. And then you'll see that there is just crazy opportunity in this sector.